You're in the danger zone.
I love the show. I love you.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Danger Zone, guys. Dog, get down. Happy Friday, man. What's up, Murph?
Yes, another feel good Friday. It's been a heck of a week, and it feels busier and busier as it goes on. But now it's the weekend, and now it's Friday night in the Danger Zone. We can talk a little Jets. We can talk a little bit of new coaches. You know,
Facts.
Going to be a whole new regime. There's hope again, guys.
Damn straight. And while I have you guys all here, hit that like button and sub it up as well. We're going to be here every Friday night, whether it's a 1 hour stream, 2, 4, 5, whatever. It kind of gets dictated by the chat, and it seems like they always get stronger as the night goes on. I think we do too. But, whatever. Come hang with us on Friday nights. Like I said, like it up, subscribe, and we'll be here, man. I never take a week off, and the team doesn't. Like if there was like a settle period for this team and like nothing happened for a month, I would take a month off. But dude, it's like daily.
That never happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't never. There's no time off. Like it can be June, July, March. It doesn't matter, dude. There's never a day off with this team. Um,
Facts.
but like you said, man, it's a lot of it's dictated by the chat, man. It's just like I don't know. You go to hang out with your boys, like go over on your boy's house, go to have a few beers. You got all your guys there, or whatever, and then some nights, not a lot to talk about. Everybody's tired. You have a couple beers and everybody kind of splits off, goes home. And then there's some nights where next thing you know, the sun's rising and you're about 23 beers deep and singing sea shanties with the boys. And, so that's kind of how this stream goes too.
Facts, and I enjoy this first little bit because we get to say hi to everybody, give them time to get settled in as well. But just know, guys, we do have a plan for tonight. What the theme will be is basically seeing who all we hired in the last 7 days, because we hired quite a bit of people. And I think last week when we spoke, we had a coach and we had a GM. We hadn't heard from either of them, so let me start there. Where so Monday's press conference obviously happened at 1 o'clock. Did you see it? And what's your take on both of our main talking heads talking to us? What'd you make of all that?
Yeah, so I did watch the press conference. I thought it was interesting. Aaron Glenn is a dude that he's pretty infectious. That's something that pops off on the screen, even through camera and in the interviews. The guy is intense, like in the things that he says. He feels authentic. These are all things that I think most of us would like, in a coach, and I think it's things that can help in a locker room whenever you're trying to build a culture, right? Whenever you have a coach like that. So, um, hearing him the way that he is in the interviews and just how he speaks and stuff, um, there's a lot to make you feel good there. Now, on the flip side, you didn't hear a whole lot from the Mooj, um, but what you did hear from him, it felt clear, concise, and very businesslike. And I kind of think that's what you want from your general manager, right? Like, you can have your head coach be a passionate guy and stuff, but you want your general manager, your GM, you want him to be uh, immovable, right? Like, you want him to always have his eye on the ball, always have a clear head, and things like that. And one thing that I noticed that I really wanted to point out is that it was brought up several times how they're determined that they're going to work together. I think even maybe Aaron Glenn might have mentioned that he said if we got to lock ourselves in a room for a few hours and not come out until there's a decision made, he said we're going to do it. Like, um, and
I
we're
love that.
yeah, and we're both going to agree on it when we come out, and things like that. And I'm like, that's what you need. You need your guys, your head coach and your GM, to sit down and be able to communicate with each other. Develop the path, the planned path that you're taking, and execute. So that's it. It's hard not to be excited, man. But we always get excited in the off season, so it's hard for me to. I'm like, they're drawing me back in.
They are, dude. Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. And, dude, it's hard not to. Like, because at the whole second half of the season, I was like, screw it after this. Like, I am done for a bit. I'm taking there's not, basically, I had zero confidence that they could do anything that would make my needle flicker. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people, based on what happened on Monday, their needle is high noon right now. And I see why, but like also, dude, I don't want to be naive. Like, how many times it's like, screw me once, shame on you. Screw me 10, 15, 20. This is season number 29 for me. And like, fool me 29 times, shame on me. So, um, a lot of things I'm waiting to see. What's the staff? Hey, we're going to talk about that tonight. Also, like, what's the roster, man? Like, we talked about it all last summer. We got 25 guys on rental deals. The staff could be a home. Like, obviously, the staff is the most important, but like, they might have no ingredients for the next 15 months. So, like, patience and expectations are so key with the start of a new regime. I guess that's one thing I just really want to drive home is like, let's not put them in a pressure cooker yet, because when you're pointing at high noon, the expectations just get built in. And if they go 6-11 next year, like, just chill, like that. You get what I'm trying to say. But what I will say is, while Glenn did make some clip-worthy quotes that will be in my new intro, that, by the way, the one you saw today, that's the last day for that one. Say goodbye to I'm going to dominate by Aaron Rodgers. Say goodbye to that. But some of Glenn's quotes will be in my intro, but my point is, like, he made some quotes like that. What I liked is that Muji didn't. You don't want your GM, like you said, being like a back page kind of guy. Uh, and he seems like a hardworking, straight to the point, and the staff I'm seeing be assembled seems the same way. They want to go to work. They want to prove themselves. They're upstarts. So like, have confidence, have optimism, but have it for the right reasons and have it at like the right level. We Jet fans tend to go all in or not at all, and this might be a time where it's like be optimistic but like temperate. That's my point. But great press conference. I felt like just keep assembling the staff. We got a couple hires left. Like I said, we'll get into those. But I know you were a sorry, I'm rambling, but you were a Flores guy, or mainly you wanted offense. Offense. So let me ask you this: are you any more like are you any less bummed post press conference than you were before the presser?
Well, I mean, I wasn't bummed about the Aaron Glenn hiring because I did think he was a solid candidate. There was just some things that, like, I really wanted an offensive guy because if you have an offensive head coach, then you have stability at offense. Because if you get a defensive guy and he nails the hire, what's up, Dom? And he nails the hire at OC, that OC's lasting 2 years and he's out the door getting a head coaching job. And then you're back in so it's just, that's kind of my worry about it. And I wanted a guy with experience, but as far as a guy that doesn't have experience at head coach, he's an experienced coach. You know what I mean? So his resume is solid. I always did think, and I think I rated him a B when we did our rankings or whatever. So I'm not too upset about it, but you're definitely not any more bummed after that press conference. Like the dude
Yeah.
said the right things. Like when he brought up the Broncos and the AFC Championship, and he said, "I'm gonna get that one back."
That
Or something like that. It's like, man, that resonated with him this whole time. Yeah. And talk about a chip on the shoulder. I hope that spills into the locker room, and I hope these boys respond to it.
you
But
know
you were talking about, I wanted to mention, you were talking about like expectations and stuff like that. Guys, just it's more intelligent this year just not to have expectations. I'm not saying have expectations of us being bad. I'm just saying like you should just give it a year so you know what to expect the next year, because this is a huge unknown. This offensive, we're going to get into the coaches and stuff like that, but the OC, we have no idea what he's going to look like. Even Aaron Glenn, we have no idea what he looks like as a head coach and stuff. So maybe we should just like not try to like be like playoffs this year, or be like, 7 games or bust, or anything like that. It's like, well, how about we give them a year to see what it looks like, and then see what they need to improve off of, and then you can build some expectations. If the
yeah,
boys are fighting hard every game and we win 8 games next year, then it's like, maybe the next year we might have some expectations if we can, improve the roster a little bit or whatever. But it's just, there's a lot of unknown right now. So for me personally, I'm not going to tell other people how to fan, but I'm just going into it with no expectations, good or bad. I'm just going to go into it and see what it is.
you know what? Since you touched on a topic I did want to get into later, I'm just going to ask you, and you can spend as little or as long on it as you'd like, but all day, man. Like I work in an office, so I do have the freedom to listen to quite a bit of Jet conversation, and I've been doing less YouTube, more other platforms, because I want more quantity of voices. Like YouTube, it's usually a show with one guy or a show with two guys. Like I like the ones with 10 and 12 guys. Well, pause. The big conversation, like literally any Jet conversation that you have right now, spins into Roger's back or Roger's not back. And you're talking expectations. So, like, in that vein, I wanted to ask you, do you think that Glenn and Muji can bring Rodgers back without baked in playoff like, do you think that it's detrimental for them to keep a guy like Rodgers because of the optimism and all that will be baked in? Because if you think about it, if they cut him, they pretty much have 2025 free and clear. It kind of just cements the fact that we're going to chill this year. We're going to eat a bunch of dead money. We might win 4 or 5 games, and it's just right there out in front on the table. You double down and you bring Rodgers back, and you win 5 to 8 games. It's going to be looked at like, bro, y'all just failed. Now we lost confidence in you. So, do you think that factors in at all? Does it for you as a fan? And just how do you see that whole argument?
I think, I mean, it's funny because the fan base is torn, and I'm not even the national media is torn. I think there's a lot of people that think Rodgers is just cooked, and I think there's a lot of people out there that still, they think of Rodgers, they think of playoff football, they think of MVP caliber football, they think of a leader, all these things, all these positives and stuff like that. So I think, in a sense, if you bring Rodgers back, there's going to be a big group of people that are going to expect playoffs because that's all they've ever seen Aaron Rodgers do is go to the playoffs. Um, but there will definitely be a lot less than there has been in previous years. I think there's a lot of people that have kind of jumped off of that bandwagon now. It's a tough question. That's why, like I said, I'm gonna have zero expectations with or without Rodgers. Like I'm just gonna like clean slate. Let me see what you can do. Let me see how the product looks on the field as you're still, because the first year you're still like installing and tweaking and I don't know. I want to see what the first year looks like before I start throwing expectations out there. Period. Um,
So if they did retain Rodgers, they would still have a burn year from you, is what you're telling me.
yeah, yeah, because we don't know that Rodgers is good enough to do it
Yeah,
anymore. I mean,
true.
I'm not saying that he's horrible. Like he still gave us one of the best quarterback seasons that we've seen. But that's not, the bar for that is so low. For us being Jet fans, we how many 4,000 yard seasons have we had?
Yeah, one.
Yeah, yeah, the bar is really low for a Jets quarterback. So, he had a down year, but it was still good compared to what we've seen lately. So, but yeah, I don't. I think that they get a year regardless. Like I
Yeah,
don't want to say it's a burn year. They could come out and guns blazing and everything starts clicking and you never know, man. You really
facts.
don't. So I don't want to call it a burn year. I'm just saying like I'd like to see it a year before I can start throwing expectations on it because I have no idea what it's going to look like.
Right, right. I do. Well, I think like I wish we weren't so impatient as a fan base because like I think that if we were like chill fan base, Rogers could give us 2 more years. Like fuck it. Like he's gonna be just as much like that would buy us time to develop someone else like the right way. However, it doesn't work like that, obviously. And if they move on from him, then uh, I don't know. It would be a full on tear it up from the studs, minus the core that you can do, and it would tell us right away, hey, piranhas, chill, because we're going to do this right. Now, you still have to, obviously, but yeah, we'll see how all that plays out. But if they do find a way of keeping him, if he takes a discount, even like, just don't, guys. We're not all. That doesn't mean we're all in again. That's my point. Like, retaining him, even retaining Devontae, doesn't mean we even have the roster we had last year. There are so many guys that came to Ring Chase and rental contracts last spring that won't this year, whether Rodgers and Adams are here or not.
Yeah, yeah. The narrative around those two has shifted, a little bit. Um, I do wonder if Rogers comes back, if they have a little more aggression in their team building. I'm not going to say the words all in, but like, do you think that they'll be a little more aggressive with their team building if they did bring him back?
Yeah. It's a shame too because this was not a 5-win team. Like, so you could argue that too. It's like, well, Zerline and the D choking, and it's like, bam, this is a 9-8 team, and it's like, well, then how do you not run it back with better coaching? Could easily be a 10-11 win team. Like, so like literally, we could sit down and hand each other sides to argue it and then switch sides and argue it even more, and like literally it's going to come down to Mooj and Glenn and this next guy, which I want to bring up. We're going to lean heavily on defensive stuff because it seemed like we cemented a lot of those guys earlier in my research gathering phase. So I have a little more on our defensive coaching staff, a little less on the O, but by next week we'll have all of that. So it kind of works anyway. But this next guy will be factored into the decision making as well. And that guy is not me. It is.
It's like, damn, Dan, you got a promotion, dude.
Come on. Let's see if is it loading?
I don't think so.
All right, let me go to this one. Technical difficulties. One second, folks. See if this does the trick.
There you go.
All right. Tanner. A lot of people are just calling him Tanner. It is Angstrand. I know it's a pain to say. I see England every time I first see his name, but there are some people who think that the fact that he is so young is a foregone conclusion. We will be moving on from Rodgers. I don't think you can glean that conclusion just based on his age. But yeah, we finally locked him in today. He was either Glenn's 1A choice or he was his 1B choice. Does it matter? I don't think so. But he landed him. What are your initial thoughts on this hire? And I'm going to pull up a tweet while you tell me.
Well, first of all, I don't think that was his one anything choice. I think that he probably had another guy or two that he would have preferred, but he couldn't get a hold of them. And that's part of the business, man. It's not even like oh, screw the Jets or oh, screw Aaron Glenn. Like, it's not like that. It's just part of the business. Some people just like, man, I'd rather just stay on the West Coast, or some people, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that factor into all those decisions. The big thing surrounding the Engstrand is really a lot of it's like, do you think Aaron's going to want to work with this guy? Do you think this guy's going to want to work with Aaron? Is it better to just have a new guy come in and learn the new system because Aaron's going to be too stubborn to learn it, blah, 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 all these conversations? Or is it better to have Aaron in there assisting him with building the offense in a way, maybe giving some input because the guy's been in the league for, 20 years or whatever. But so there's pros and cons to everything, and there's a lot of conversation to be had there. Um, I'm really intrigued to see which way they go. I'm personally torn on it. Even before this hire, I was torn on it, but I think having a guy that was assisting with building and scheming the first ranked offense in the league.
Yeah.
Having a guy from that offensive coaching staff isn't a bad idea. Um, I'm not crazy about his resume. To be honest with you, I didn't even know his name, as of
Yeah.
like a month ago. Um, but
He's never called plays before. And they said that,
well,
from what
didn't
I
he call
hear,
plays for one of those like little leagues too, like the I don't know, Birmingham Iron or one of those.
maybe.
I think he was like, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, but I don't give him credit for that. But but what I will say is, someone said, well, why didn't he just join Ben Johnson again? And it makes sense. Like, he wouldn't call plays again. So, like, I think the point is that he wants to, like, he wants to call plays, and he doesn't want to live under Ben Johnson forever. So, you know what I do like about this hire is that we're bringing over something from Detroit's offense in addition to just Glenn. So, like, we can have a little bit of Dan Campbell's both sides of the ball here. And in addition to this hire, we also got our new tight end coach is also from Detroit. So, like, we have two assistants from Detroit's offense. We have Aaron Glenn from their defense. Let's see, you guys are all three familiar with it yourselves. You're all playing maybe a level higher than you were, so, like, it's not going to be easy, but you need to try to recreate the Detroit blueprint here. And they got a head start because they know each other, and they just came from an established working model.
Yeah, yeah. I like the way that Detroit runs their offense too. So if we're doing anything similar to that, I'm a fan. Things about Engstrom I wanted to point out. Yeah, he was an offensive coordinator, um 2 years at San Diego University, which I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was San Diego State, and that was
Yeah.
it. But apparently, there's a San Diego University. But he did call plays there, and he also called plays. He was the offensive coordinator and running back coach for the DC Defenders for a year. So he has called plays on a minor scale. I mean, at least it's not completely new to him. Um, I will point out a worry. My worry is why didn't Dan Campbell promote him?
Yeah,
He had decided to go outside of the organization and snatch up John Morton, which was actually the guy I really wanted.
facts.
Because I thought Morton gave us a really good season based on what we had available, that
I
year.
do.
And then Todd Bowles, he likes to shuffle through coordinators like, you know. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, Engstrand, it's just another one of those unknowns, man. We don't know until we see it on the field.
And we do know that, like, we were flirting with Nick Cayley, who is under Sean McVay. I wouldn't have minded that hire at all, but
I
apparently
mean,
he made it known that he wasn't gonna come here. So I get it, especially on the offensive side of the ball. This is a tough sell to a guy trying to climb the offensive ranks. Uh, I wouldn't want to be pitching it, but Glenn got, Glenn got, from what I hear, sources around the league are saying that it is a rising star. Does he continue rising? That we don't know, but so far he's been a rising star. So, um, it's what I will say is that, let's see if I have it here. I think that we can call it. Man, all my slides are jacked. Let me just bring it up manually. I think it's an upgrade over this. But what say you?
You remember how I was talking earlier about setting the bar really low? Dane, that's if you could look up the Wikipedia for setting the bar low, it might have a picture of Nathaniel Hackett's face in there. So
Dude,
yeah, I don't
he
know.
looks like a thumb. Like, look, it looks like his photo.
He does. Yeah. He looks really,
Oh boy.
he looks really odd.
Um, enough on the offense. Like I said, we'll get more nitty gritty with it because I do want to know like schemes and like shit like that I can research next week because I want to see who our QB coach is. I want to see, do we have a pass game coordinator? What, who's that? I'm hoping for more experience to go with Engstrand. Like that I think is a must. So that hire will be that'll lean, I think, both of us probably one way or another on how optimistic we are about it. But what we did do is we got experience. Let me bring it up here. Wilkes, where you at, brother? I don't know, but let's just go through the
Where in the world is Steve Wilkes?
man. Yeah, my StreamYard is crapping on me, but
It's probably because you called it the wrong name, since it's Restream.
good article here by Narnia. Goes into some of the stuff regarding Wilkes. But we did get experience, like I said, on the defensive coordinator side of things. A guy with head coach experience. What do you think I mean, obviously we haven't done deep dives into this. Guys, we're not monetized yet. Once we get to 500 subscribers and we get like a $2 super chat like a month, then I might put a little more time into like knowing everything. But the way it stands now, we are open to digging into each guy individually. If you're in the chat and you want to know, hey, where did this guy work last? What's his story? We can look it up together. But what I do know is some of these guys on Twitter, they got a lot of the resume stuff, and that Rich Samini provides here with us on Wilkes. San Francisco, Cleveland, Arizona, Carolina, stops all over. Loves to blitz. He does. See, I was hoping that we would shift to more man coverage, and we still may.
Me too. Me too.
Because Glenn, think about it this way: Glenn did man coverage 11% more than Sala. So I was like, ooh, let's, and then Wilkes is, a little less. So we'll see. And it may ultimately come down to our personnel. Do we have a good press cover corner opposite Sauce, that kind of thing. But his blitz rate's very high. What do you think about that? Are you excited at the prospect of more blitz and more man coverage? Where are you there?
Yeah, I mean, well, when you got a weapon like Quincy Williams, you're excited to hear about throwing some extra men into the backfield because he is a heat-seeking missile. So that to me is exciting. Even Jamie Sherwood kind of plays like that too. Maybe he's not as fast, but I still like the way he plays. So yeah, that whole being stubborn about like, oh, we'll win with our defensive line, and while we have Michael Clemens out there type deal, we don't have to worry about that now, right? Like if he wants to blitz, he's going to blitz. Apparently, he does it quite a bit. But I will say I agree with you. I'm not crazy about seeing the fact that he tends to prefer zone over man, but I know that Glenn, in his previous years has done a good bit of man coverage, but he's been known to shift things based on what he's got available in his personnel and everything. So, which is good. That's what a coach should do. Like a coach should adjust to what he has, right? Bring the best out in his players, like play to their tendencies, and those type of things. So between him and then having a guy with a lot of experience on defense, I'm a fan of that. I think that that's a recipe for success.
Some guys to go with him, like you were talking about. Who's our D line coach? Who's our linebackers? Who's doing the secondary? Uh, Tweet here from Blewett, another experienced coach for the Jets to help Glenn. Who is it? It's Eric Washington. He's going to be coaching our D line moving forward. He previously served as DC for the Bears and the Panthers. He was the assistant head coach with the Bills in 2023. So 2 years ago, assistant head coach. He and Steve Wilkes worked together for years in Carolina. That I love. The fact that they are familiar with one another.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking assistants. We're really splitting hairs down the line, but it's nice to have that familiarity. They already have a big enough job in front of them. It's nice that they at least know each other, know each other's language. What do you think about that hire?
Yeah, actually, this is one that I overlooked. I didn't even see this one, so this is actually new to me.
It's new anyway, I think.
I actually big fan of that. The dude has experience and higher up positions, and whether he was successful or not, it doesn't matter. He at least knows the ins and outs of what it requires to do those. So him being just a defensive line coach for us is it's good. I think that's a good place. It's good to have a lot of experience in there, helping out the young guys, helping out because we do have I mean, JJ's not like a seasoned vet, Will McDonald's only going into his third year, I mean, it's good to have somebody back there that's been around the league. He's seen it, done it, I think that's what type of thing I like to see on our staff.
Can he spot a lemon by looking at him like our number 72? Like, can he watch the film from last year?
It's a big ass lemon.
And yeah, he's got lemon right there in his last name, by the way.
Lemon.
Can we shoot him to the sun? Because then Eric Washington can stay for Glenn's whole tenure. You know what I do like though is on the D line, especially with all the hand fighting and the pass rush moves. Like, I actually like having a different coach year to year because each one might be able to teach a guy something different. Whereas if you're with the same guy, yeah, it's continuity's great and all, but like at some point you learn every trick a guy has,
Mm-hmm.
So I love this. I do. And not too much holdover from last year. Like we kept Sean Jefferson on the offensive side of the ball, but almost throughout, you're going to see new voices coaching these guys. And I do think it makes a difference. I do. But
yeah,
let's go another level back. How about that? We got a linebacker coach. Not sure if you're familiar with this guy, but Aaron Curry. What can you tell me about your first impression, I guess, on the hiring of Aaron Curry?
Well, the first thing I saw was, he was working with the Steelers as an inside linebackers coach. I was like, obviously, it's the first thing in this tweet right here. So when I saw that, I was already in because the Steelers are they do pretty well with their linebackers, right? So I don't think that's a bad organization to poach a linebackers coach from. I didn't know that he was. A lot of people remember him being drafted because I've seen it all like Twitter and stuff. People are like, "Oh, I remember that."
I
I don't even
do.
remember that for some reason. What year was that?
09, 010, Rex era. He just
Really?
went so high, like that. That's what I tend to remember as like the top 10 guys. But
Huh.
dude, he was a butt. Like there was talk. I read today there was talk of him possibly going first overall that year. I don't remember that, but I do remember him going fourth overall to Seattle and being out of the league before he finished his deal. Like
Wow.
rough. Yeah, rough.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, he is a hell of a coach. I think it
Yeah.
was Will Parkinson. He tweeted right away. He's like, "This is a hell of a hire." So like, I trust Will Parkinson when it comes to insights like that, and he was on it. He knew the guy. He knew he's another budding rising star. So I like it. I
And
do.
that was one thing that I took away from this hire too, is like this is one of those guys that work their way up quick. Like we may not keep him for long because he may work his way up to like a bigger position on the defense and with another team. I'm not gonna say like defensive coordinator off the bat, but you get what I'm saying.
I do.
Um, I could see him being gone in 3 years because he got a promotion. So
I
hopefully, while he's with us, he's you know showing these guys with their hair on fire, how not to over pursue angles and things,
yeah.
tackles,
Facts.
you know.
Facts, and it's leaning like that. Sherwood's probably gonna have way too many other suitors for us to keep him. But if we do manage to sign Sherwood long term, maybe he can get him to cover a little better. I know that was his weakness. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But if we're blitzing more, he should definitely have some advice for Quincy, like you talked about, man. Because
Yeah.
again, I just like getting new voices, man. I really do.
Mhm. Yeah. So for me, like what I think he needs to do is he needs to take the linebackers into the linebacker meeting room, turn on some film of his Seattle playing days, and say, "See what I did here? Don't do that. Don't do that. And this too, don't do that either."
Facts.
So hopefully that works.
Going further back, we are talking DB coach and possibly defensive pass game coordinator. Not sure. All I know is that he has a role on the defensive staff. Hasn't been confirmed if it's the secondary specifically, if it's the pass game coordinator, if it's both, if it's an advisor, who knows. But going to be involved. Chris Harris, that is, got hired. When was it? Today? Yeah, this morning. Um, the Titans, last 2 years, will likely have a similar role for the Jets. Consider another coach on the rise, man. And I believe he worked with Vrabel the first year he was there. So that's pretty cool. Did you hear anything about the hiring of Chris Harris?
Well, the one thing I found interesting is before they officially announced that they were going to hire Steve Wilks, there was actually some chatter about hiring Chris Harris as a defensive coordinator, I think. And I think I might have even seen that with maybe another team or two that had maybe considered him or had him on their list or whatever. But so to me, that's something that's kind of interesting. Also, like this is the Chris Harris, like the player that I remember playing, safety and so like that's something that I expected out of Aaron Glenn was to hire guys that have played in the league before. And I'm noticing there's a few already, this being one of them. So I kind of like that because that's kind of what Dan Campbell did too. And how best to relate to players is by putting people that have been in that position in that room with them and telling them like, listen, like I've been through this, I've done this, and I was stubborn in my day and I didn't listen to my coaches when they told me to do this, and guess what? I fucked up and we lost, like so I like that, man. And they can relate to players more. They know what it's like having to deal with the emotions of the game and things like that. I
Facts.
I really like this hire. Actually, I like it a lot.
Yeah, honestly, like Glenn, player, Mooge, I guess you can call a player. But like seriously, Curry, like you go down the line, and I think someone said 80% of them have played. Love that, love it. I think that you got 10 more guys that have played that are dying to be on the staff, like we talked about last week. Like Corbett said he would volunteer. Victor Green. I mean, all these guys. Just I guess that's, and it was like one of the main attractions that I had for Glenn is that like he's got the Rex ability to like get people to buy into him, I guess. And when we are as polarizing of a destination as we are, if we chose a polarizing individual like Flores or something, it would have been a bad fit. Then who wants to come here then? So you go the route of getting a very likable, very um, guy, like a guy that's easy to believe in, like Glenn. You start getting byproducts of his likability um, by way of assistance. So I do like that, and it's hard not to be optimistic. The only thing that's tempering my optimism at the moment is the fact that like a we're changing everything in 1 year's time. We're, who knows how similar the scheme is going to be. All the voices are going to be changing, but also like our finances are crap. So like all of the exterior factors are keeping my optimism tempered. But as soon as like our dead money is eaten and we have 2025 in the books and people are familiar with each other, next off season you're not going to be able to bottle up my optimism, man. I'm going to be high noon, brother. High noon.
Yeah, yeah. And I understand, like I kind of have that in the back of my head too. Like I worry about the cap and things like that this year. And that's why it's going to be really interesting to see how they tackle this season. Are they going to be more aggressive, or are they going to try to get rid of a lot of dead money and get things off the books throughout the year? How how are they going to do it? I don't know. But you mentioned Aaron Glenn and getting these players to buy in. There's it's like I mentioned earlier, man. Aaron Glenn, there's two things about him: authenticity and passion. And those are the two best qualities to have if you want players to buy in. And that's something that Rex had too. He was authentic and he was passionate. So I don't know. I think it's got the potential to be successful. It's just like can these guys coach though? Can they make the right decisions at the right times? And can our boy Mooj get the right players in the building?
Facts. It all starts too with that number 7 pick, man. Like, and we could talk about that too. I actually love discussing that pick because there are going to be so many different directions we can go, and it's predominantly healthy discourse outside of the people who want to go dart at 7. Let's not go that route. But um, but yeah, well, let's get through the rest of this. I think we're just about done on the coaching staff changes, to be honest. I did have a tweet here that I wanted to just show. Like, we're catching eyes nationally, too. Like, people are, and I'm not specifically talking about this NFL account, but like most of the pundits and like it's hard to find shit talk about us right now. Like, unless it's Rogers related, right? Short
Mm.
or Woody. If it's Woody or Rogers, yeah, we're easy marks when it comes to talking shit about us there. But like, as far as the actual football moves we're making and have made in the last month, hard to argue that there are bad moves because you can't find people saying it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen I haven't seen very much negative about the staff, but at the same time, I'm so like trepid about buying in right now that I don't really let that phase me,
Fair.
because I've seen it before. I've seen people be like, "Oh man, these are excellent hires" and stuff like that, and it's like, are you just being a homer, or what's going on here? So um, I like what I'm seeing so far. I worry about Engstrand, a little bit, but I'd worry about just about any OC. You know what I mean? There's none of
I
them that
do.
I know for sure is going to come in and do a great job.
I do. And none of us really do. All we can go by is the people who know them. Like with Curry, I thought it was very telling that the amount of Steeler fans that spoke up about not wanting to lose him. Same with the Broncos people. I've heard express concern about losing their guys. So we'll see. Well, it's still got to pan out because some of them teams they had good rosters. They had stars. So they had Sean Payton in Denver. We'll see. We'll see. Give me 30 seconds to step away, Murph. But I want to ask you, we did finally, man, turn over our special teams coordinator position. Um, you don't have to speak on Banjo specifically, but what do you think about just being done finally with Brant Boyer and just trying something new?
Yeah. The thing about Boyer, I was pretty high, and I think most Jet fans were pretty high on Boyer for the majority of the time that he was here. Um, we had seen some successful special teams units. We had seen him do a lot with a little. It felt like sometimes, but like the last season or two, I've had issues with personnel and on the special teams, like most notably like punt returner, like Gibson, like he had one good punt return and he played like shit pretty much the rest of the year, and they stuck with him for 2 years, and that's unreal. And they said that Sala, Douglas, like those guys gave him a lot of say so, as to who he wants and what position he wants. So I got to put it on Boyer. I got to give it, I mean, maybe it was Sala and Jeff Ulbrich saying, like the kid's got a lot of talent. Like he ran that one punt for us back and, this and that. And it's like, at some point you gotta move on. You gotta try other guys and see how it goes. So that's kind of what soured me on Boyer. So I appreciate Boyer for what he gave us. He did give us some good seasons, some good special teams units, but I think his time was just out. Like I think it was time to make another move, and making a move to a guy that had learned under our boy Mike Westhoff. You know, why the hell not? I can't pick it apart. We'll see how it goes.
Facts, and that's another thing. Like Westoff's gonna come to training camp and lend a hand, which is awesome, man. I think I think he's got about a 99.9% approval rating amongst Jet fans. That guy, damn,
Yeah.
love it. I love it. But dude, you hit the nail on the head, man. Gibson, there is not, and that's one of my biggest gripes about Salah's tenure as a whole is snap count distribution. Guys playing that I felt like I think most fans could tell you just didn't deserve to. Um, Guys playing more than they should have. Guys playing less than they should have. Uh, I think special teams in 2024 though is probably the biggest culprit of that. Gibson on returns, hell yeah. For one, Isaiah Davis should have been kickoff return from week one on.
Mhm.
And Corley, what better way to get a rookie's feet wet than kickoff return? Punt
Yeah.
return, maybe you get him returning some kicks, then he wants to return some punts, you trust him a little more. Gibson, dude, he would literally fair catch balls when there's not a defender for 15 yards of him. Literally, you can go look it up. It happened. Fair catching, no one around. Other times, bobbling when there's the slightest bit of someone running by him. So just frustrating as hell. But another guy on specials played way more than he should have, Greg Zerline. Who goes down for that, man? I don't know, but I'm looking at Boyer first. The GM already got fired, so.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing about Zerline is like when you have a kicker and they have a rough patch, like it doesn't mean it's going to last all season. Sometimes they fix it in season and they're right back to form. Um, Sometimes they're a little banged up, and that's what the problem is, or
You just got to
So
massage them a
it's
little
hard
bit.
to make that change in the middle of the season and not know that you won't regret it. Like, so I kind of have a
True.
little bit more forgiveness for that. I know that you were kind of early on the train of getting, sending Zerline down the road, and I get it. And you were right ultimately. But I just have a little more leeway for kickers because I've seen them turn it around. I've seen them go early in the season. They'll be like 3 for 9 on field goals, and then finish the season like 17 for 17 or something
Fair.
like crazy.
Very fair. And you know what? Boyer can't do much if you don't have a second kicker on the roster, right? And we didn't have a second kicker on the roster for far too long until it was too late, pretty much. And then we had two pretty much the rest of the way. But yeah, so Joe is partially to blame for that, especially when he'd rather keep a guy named Zach Kuntz that doesn't provide anything than a second kicker on the practice squad. So
a big like, oh well, maybe 10 years down the road he'll develop.
oh, but
um
his RAS score was 10.
yeah, he brought a 10 RAS score and that's it.
Yeah,
uh and
yeah.
then go back to the Gibson thing. Like, it's not even, you can't even blame it on draft pedigree because Gibson was an undrafted free agent. And then you had Codrington, who was also an undrafted free agent and was outperforming him early in preseason. And they shipped him away and kept Gibson. It's just crazy to me.
It really is because then you see the Pro Football Writers Association. They nominate Codrington as their AFC return man. It's like, dude, we gave him up for a pick swap. That's rough, man. But we kind of detoured my point. Regardless of whether Zerline was Boyer's fault, Douglas's fault, whatever. I'm still stoked about turning over that position, and I'm excited to see what Banjo can do. Uh, Hopefully, he's got Kazooie with him too.
Yeah. Um, there's something to be said for a spark, right? And we're just breathing new life into every position room except for wide receivers. But, and he was new anyway, so um, something to be said for breathing life into each position group and each coaching position. Let's try something new because what the hell we were doing these last few years was not doing it, guys.
Facts. Um, Daniel, good comment you got here. We can't assume that the offense is going to be the Detroit Jets if we know what you mean. We definitely do. I mean, we could maybe see it in a few years' time, but like, the point is, we do not have the personnel to even make a Detroit light at this moment. Plus, like by the time we would, the league might be caught up with that. I don't know. I just like the idea that we have a strong O line. Why don't we just keep building on that? People want Rodgers and Devontae back. Maybe put that money into the O line, and then the quarterback doesn't matter as much. And draft weapons too. Like, I don't know. Either you spend on the O line and you draft the weapons, or you spend on the weapons and you know what I'm saying. But have a plan, and if the plan's Rodgers and Devontae, it can't be for long. So like, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'd toy with them returning as a package if it was a short term and they gave us a hometown discount in order to stay together and do it one more time. But I don't know, the
Yeah,
more and more.
that's where I'm at, dude. If they're coming back, they have to have brand new like short deals that
Yeah,
aren't gonna
yeah,
fuck us for 20 years in the future. Like,
yes,
like that's basically probably the only way I'd really want them back. Because I can't guarantee success if they come back.
facts.
And that's
And
the thing. So
we can't keep kicking the dead money down the road, man. We just
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
Like I'm not
You're
ready to
talking
burn
like
the
50
rest of it.
mil and 60, that's a lot of money. It's not just 5 million or something.
And not only that, like the money is being kicked to the second and third years of Garrett and Sauce, which are way more expensive than than a year before they get paid and the first year they get paid when it's very cheap. The the middle of their next contracts, we can't have any dead money. That's all I know. None at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm with you
banjo,
on that.
banjo. So we talked here. Let me bring up the list here. I got the whole list of coaches we can look at.
Oh, you went
Maybe
defense specific because I was like, you missed a guy on the. Yeah, I was like, did he mention Hayden?
no. And that was like I hinted at him at being the
Mhm.
other Lions guy coming in. But what do you think of? I mean, who are we missing? We're missing a QB coach, a passing coordinator, but I don't think we'll do a whole show on it next week. So why don't you just? What do you think of Hayden now? Do you know anything specific about him or uh, anything you want to share?
All I know is that he was the tight, not the OL coach. He wasn't the line coach. He was the tight end coach for the Lions prior to this, and
Laporta.
I don't think that's a terrible transition. I mean, tight ends do a lot of blocking. They have to know the blocking schemes and concepts and stuff. So the guy, that doesn't really bother me that he's going from one position coach to another. Um, Honestly, like if I'm him, I love that because I think all coaches should cross train and like they should do a lot of different things just so they know all aspects of the game. So I think that's good for him, and it could be good for us. So I'm not against it. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh man, this is gonna be the best line coach we've ever had. It's got to be better than Keith Carter. I mean, a net neutral is better than Keith Carter. So,
Thank
I,
God he's gone. AKC, man. It's a new era after Keith Carter. I think Mackay Becton, I'm not a fan of his whatsoever, but he spotted it and the writing was on the wall, man, that guy was not a great coach. And, I didn't trust Becton at the time because I thought that he was a hard player to coach anyway, but he's looking pretty today. Hell, he's playing in the Super Bowl next week, so he's looking double pretty. But he had the pegging of Keith Carter being whatever. He had that on point.
so my thing is with Becton is like he just went to a good team, guys. Like he just went to a good team. Like yeah, he's always had some talent, and then also he switched positions, which he was never willing to do with us. He didn't even want to be a right tackle, much less a guard. So I don't know. Becton is he's still just a little bit immature. And I defended him for a long time, and there's a point where you're just like, all right, I can't defend you anymore.
I'm
you know?
sorry, but if you give me his size, I could do exactly what he does. Like, give me his strength and his size. Put Lane Johnson next to me, and whoever, whatever, whatever. But good for him, right? No sour grapes. Yeah, no, I don't know. That guy, like, if you follow Jets Twitter, it's hard to be on Jets Twitter and stick up for the guy just because it's gotten so toxic over the years with him. Um, but you know what? If he wins a ring while being a starter, then he has the last laugh. I can't steal any thunder from him if he wins the ring. Now he's still got the Chiefs in front of him, but um, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Have
guess.
fun
Yeah,
with
let me
Chris
ask,
Jones.
what do you think of that game? And we'll get into that fully next week, but like, do you think it's a shootout? Do you think that Philly just tries to hold the ball for 40 minutes? Just like a generic overview, how do you think the game will be?
I think no, it's not going to be a shootout. Um, I think no more than 48 points. Um,
Yeah,
I think that game can go either way too. Like I
not
think,
like last time though.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah, it was like 38-35. Yeah, no.
yeah, that was no. It won't be that. It'll be like both of them, like 21 to 28 each, whatever, And I think it can go either way. It really just depends on execution, man. I think Philly has a good foundation for beating them if they can just execute properly. That's the big thing, man. Um, and then KC, it doesn't matter who they play, when they play, nothing. They always have a chance if they got Mahomes back there. You know.
And Kelsey did nothing last game. I have a feeling like he's just gonna come out and have 100 yards again. Like he had 100 yards the first game, nothing the next game. He'll explode again. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the Super Bowl, he probably will. He's just one of those guys that shows up in those moments for sure. When the hell is he going to retire? By the way.
Dude, if I'm him, I mean, what would you do if you were him? Because I would be sticking around a few more years. His speed, like, really isn't the factor with him, you know? If you're Kelsey, are
if
you
I'm if
trying?
I'm Kelsey, well, he's going to stay around for probably at least one more year because I think there's a few records that he's close to that I think he would like to knock out. Like there's a postseason like receiving yard record or something that he's inching up on, but he's not going to do it in one game. So I could see him staying for at least another year. If I
Yeah,
am him, I probably would because I'm stubborn.
especially if they lose, like, because consecutive is nice, but like if you can put 5 or 6 in your cover, do that. You know, who cares about how many in a row? It's how many total.
No
Um,
doubt. No
chat
doubt.
chat the chat's weighing in on the game. JT thinks Philly takes it, and you know, I struggle with like my my heart versus my head. Like my heart is Philly. Like I feel like Barkley and Hurts can just take over a single game. I feel like Philly's defense is littered with superstars. Like so, hell yeah, and like the Chiefs beat them 2 years ago, and like last year they had a shitty year. So like that's sticking in their craw. It's got to. Then my head, the Chiefs. Like, how does any like if I'm betting, if I'm a gambling man, I'm betting on the Chiefs. But when I'm watching that game, I'm rooting for Philly all the way. I'm just glad it's not the Bills.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get that, but it would be kind of sweet to see him lose in the Super Bowl, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah.
It would.
Because like, how many fucking times have they made it and lost? Like that was just
That's a good point.
That would be
I didn't think.
nice.
I
I
didn't.
think losing in the Super Bowl is probably gonna be one of the most heartbreaking things out there.
It
But
is.
at the same time, like I think losing in like the championship game, like the AFC or NFC championship game, that might be even more heartbreaking. Because just to say that you made it to the Super Bowl is a lot, but nobody cares that you made it to the championship game. Like, you know, so I don't know. I have this argument with my cousin all the time. He's a 49ers fan, and he's seen what, three Super Bowl losses in his life now. And he's very, very bitter about it. And he's probably the most anti Kansas City person out there.
You
Um,
know, that's one distinction we can't make either. Like, we made it once, we won once, but like, and when we make it and we lose, man, I don't know, man. That's going to be hard to stomach.
yeah, I'd probably cry. I
It's
would.
one thing, like, if you have an aging team, it would be even worse. If you had like a Jaden Daniels and he's just getting started, it probably wouldn't be as bad. But like, if you have a Matt Stafford and he's like a different vibe, right?
Yeah, yeah. Wasn't there a stat I saw?
Tad or
Something about a quarterback losing the Super Bowl and then going back. Is Hurts like one of the first, or like one of the first quarterbacks to do that? To
to
lose the Super Bowl and then come back and play the same team or something. I don't know. There was something about
the
but
same team. I bet you
yeah,
like
probably it was probably the same team, which whatever. But yeah, I think that I don't know, man. I just feel like just being able to say like, "Hey, we made it to the Super Bowl" would be nice. But even if you did lose, but um,
that's
losing,
when you carefully say, "Hey, we won the conference."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
You
know.
can't say shit if if you lose in the AFC Championship game, especially if you didn't even win your division, which we didn't, by the way, on those Rex years.
Right. We made the final four. That was my way to say it. That wasn't as heartbreaking. We were in the final four twice in a row. Like, bro,
Yeah.
like,
What the hell is this? The fucking March Madness?
yeah, rough, dude. Rough.
We cope. We cope in whatever
Yes.
way we can.
Okay, here's a question. I mean, I don't know how to phrase it, but like, and Super Bowl MVP. Who do you think are the? Do you think the quarterbacks? Do you think Hurts and Mahomes are the top two odds most likely, or do you think Barkley is ahead of one of them?
That's a tough question. I'm with you, Adirondack, but I would like to see that. But I think that if you're looking at odds, it's going to be top two quarterbacks every time. Dude, I've seen quarterbacks have terrible games in the Super Bowl and still win MVP. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think Barkley, the way he's running, man. The only problem is Kansas City. Like, they've faced many RB1s this year, and they have been stout, especially inside the five. They might be the best defense inside the five against running backs in the league. Um, so that's going to matter. Like, when they get down and close, is Barkley and Hurts going to be able to punch it in? Is the Chiefs going to hold them to three? Are they even going to take the three? Are they going to go for it? Like, I feel like the game is that. Um, However, if Barkley makes some long touchdowns like he has been all playoff long, that's not even a like I think Philly wins if he does that. If he pops one or two 40-yard runs, it's probably skewing Philly. If he's contained and like they're playing red zone offense, I don't like their odds. I like Kansas City's to win. So it's the like if I'm Philly, I think I try to either A, just hold the ball, can take like 12, 15 play drives, or space them the hell out. Philly hasn't done great at utilizing their wide receivers all year, though. So it's tough, man. It could go a number of ways.
Is KC even going to have a run game? I mean,
Good
I mean,
question.
they already it's already shaky with them, and then they're up against a Philly defense that I think is pretty stingy against the run, honestly. But and then also another side of that question is, does it even matter? You
Yeah.
know, they still have Mahomes back there. Does it even matter? I don't know.
Let me ask you this now that we've seen Josh Allen, and I mean, so many teams are pushing. I don't want to sound like too much of a boomer, but like, I feel like it's time to ban it. Where are you? Are like, I don't know how many times it happened last week, but like I think Buffalo did it like 10 times. Um, are you as annoyed by it as I am, or are you just like, hey, everybody can do it now, and everybody has to stop it now?
I um I find it annoying, but I don't think I want it banned because I there's a part of me, like the football guy side of me, says figure out a way to stop it. Like if you don't want it to be a thing, you got to figure out a way to stop it. I don't know, man. And that's another thing. Don't let him even get within a yard of the you know what I mean? If they keep giving up 5 yards here, 4 yards there, that tush push, that's where it comes from. The Eagles are, it's part of their offense, is like they're really good at getting 4 and 5 yards, right? And getting themselves in those third and ones, fourth and ones, to where they can do the tush push, get another first down, and be right back at it. So I don't know. You got to be able to stop them from doing that, first of all. And then, second of all, figure out a way to stop it, man. There's got to be a way.
You know what? Here's my problem though. On an extra point or on a field goal, you're not allowed to touch your teammate's shoulder pad and like climb them to block it, because that's like using your teammate like to propel you kind of thing. Like, you're not allowed. So how is the tush push? Like, that's the same thing. You're using another person to propel. That's where I'm like, these lines
But
are
one is
blurred.
on offense and one is on defense, though. Like you're
Yeah.
talking about defending a field goal or something
I
like that.
I just don't like the idea of two people touch, like, it's the same premise basically. If you
Well,
can't
let me
climb
ask
up,
you, how many times have you seen a run, like a running back? He breaks open in the open field, and then he meets like a safety, and the safety stands him up, but neither of them fall over, and he's trying to churn his legs. And then you see like a lineman or a fullback or somebody come out of nowhere and start pushing the running back from behind and get
that's a
him
good
some
point.
extra yardage. Do you have a problem with that?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I guess not. That's a very
Yeah.
good point there, Murph.
So,
Why don't we just let them climb each other on field goals, and then we'll meet in the
yeah,
middle?
dude, I'm all for it. I mean, hell yeah. I don't care if you let a guy have stilts back there. I don't care. I want to see
they'll
something
they'll
exciting.
form
Block a field goal.
they'll form a cheerleading triangle and like
Yeah. The top guy jumps to block it. Yeah. Hey, whatever it takes to do it, man. If you can figure it out, do it.
facts, dude.
But it'd be
I
funny. It'd be funny if they did that cheerleading triangle thing, because
Yeah,
by the third time they did it, the field goal team would have their fastest guys out there to knock out the base of that triangle before the ball got there,
good point.
and they'd all topple over. It'd be a whole thing. That'd be great.
um it's just so difficult to be a defensive tackle, man. Like, Buffalo, was it, or one of the teams last week tried to just time it like to where you're just jumping every time, and you hope they snap it at the same time.
Yeah,
That
Commander Frankie Louvu was trying to jump over the line and catch him in time, but
every
you know,
damn time.
not
Someone's
everybody's Palomalu, man.
someone's trying to join us. They're having connectivity issues. I can't tell who it is yet, but we should have a third party here in a moment, guys. If you have any good questions, man, just drop them in the chat. We'll get to them because we're just chilling. We're probably going to be winding down here. And we burnt through all the Jets stuff. And again, we said we'll be here every Friday, so we can't dig too much into future off-season topics. But if you guys got something you wanna me to share screen and look at together, let us know. JT said ex-Jet legend Frankie Louvu.
Yeah, what's up with these linebackers like going elsewhere and having like Pro Bowl years and
Blake Cashman.
yeah, Blake Cashman, Frankie Louvu, Demario Davis. Like, what's going on with that?
I think we ought to just keep our talent. Like that's why I'm bummed about Sherwood, man. Can we keep him?
Yeah, he could be the next freaking Demario Davis.
Yes, he can. And
That
there's
would
like,
that would
why couldn't Ulbrich?
Delma, by the way, that's another. I was really pissed when we got rid of Delma.
Yeah,
Really.
that's the first one that really hurt me because like he was a fan favorite right off the bat. What was I gonna say? Sherwood, like it sucks that Ulbrich and Sulla didn't go to the same team because like now it's gonna be hard. We need to lock our guys
People
up.
trying to coach those guys, yeah.
And Atlanta has a ton of cash. I don't know about San Francisco, maybe not with Purdy needing paid and shit, but Atlanta, well, you got Cousins too, I guess, but I don't know. I just know that we need to sign our guys early and not let it get to this point. Rubber chicken. uh, like Tony Adams last season could have been locked up probably like 2-3 years for $5 million, something dirt cheap. Sherwood could have too. Why? Yeah, I don't know. I just hope that with a new regime that we don't let it get that far. Like, can we sign AVT? Why do not make him play his 5th-year option? It for one, it's 14 mil on the cap. So you can save like 10 mil on the cap right there just by extending him. But two, like he deserves not to have to play on his final year. Like, I don't know. It'd be a good faith signing to give him 3 years right off the bat.
I agree with you. I would love for them to re-sign AVT and bring him back because not only is he a solid player, like he's a good locker room guy too. But one thing you have to keep in mind at this point in time, the Mooj is still bringing up Google Maps to get to One Jet's drive. So give him a second to figure out where the hell his office is, get the picture of his wife and kids put up, and and figure out where his filing cabinets are and things, and remember his password to get onto the tablet, and then maybe we'll start making some moves.
What are the odds that Joe Douglas left him like a secret letter talking about Woody and shit under his desk or something crazy? Like, here's all the dirt that you're in store for, bro. Run for the hills.
Where there's just like a really dried up turd in his drawer of his filing cabinet being dropped in there.
The Mooj, man. It sounds like we're at a frat party. The Mooj, keg stand.
He looks like he might have been in a frat at some point too.
Yeah.
To be honest, but he seems calm, level-headed, and he was willing to communicate and work with Aaron Glenn. I'm down.
So I alluded to someone attempting to join us. I think it finally succeeded. Do you have a guess on who might be trying to join us with connectivity issues, Daniel?
I have a guess, but I'm not going to say it.
All right. Well, without further ado,
in Florida.
You know what? It looks like a steady connection now. I would love to hear this guy's take on all things coaching staff, hirings, anything we've spoken of tonight. Without further ado, Mr. Ricky New York live. What's up, brother?
Ricky.
What's happening, man? Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I was trying to join, and it was like loading, and then I look, and my good camera and the built-in camera were both on at the same time. Like I don't even know how the hell that's possible. And I ended up having to shut my laptop down and restart it. I think it's just been on too long, like me working too many hours. Uh,
We
but
almost
yes,
saw 4D Ricky.
yeah. Well, I don't think anybody wants that. At any rate, yeah, I'm stoked. I'm happy about the signings. I like the fact that we have Wilkes, who has former head coaching experience. Not that Glenn needs it as bad as maybe some people make it sound, because he's got Parcells, he's got people in his corner with coaching experience that he can lean on. But I do like that, having someone right there on hand. And I like Tanner Engstrom. Everybody was going, "Oh, we need a offensive guy," and I'm like, you know what? If Aaron Glenn puts together the right staff, I mean, everybody talks about how great Detroit's offense was. Well, I said, maybe he'll bring one of those hot shot guys from Detroit with him, and that looks like exactly what he did.
Facts.
There were some people like when the name Tanner Engstrom first came up, like Allen and some other people said, "Oh no, he's going to get promoted to be the OC in Detroit." Perhaps had some concrete evidence to apparently not. But I got to say it, that there was one person who predicted Tanner Engstrom being the OC, long before everybody else. There was one content creator that was way, way ahead of the curve with that. And it wasn't Jake Asman. It wasn't Green Bean. It wasn't, no, it was the 13-year-old, Connor Long. Connor Long called that shit. I mean, over a month ago, he was like, "No, that's going to be the guy." And, and I think I responded like, whatever, it's a school night, go to bed, but,
You're like, what? Some English guy? What? Who?
yeah, I mean, but,
I even knew his name then.
Yeah, but I like it. He put together some of them passing schemes with Ben Johnson. He was integral in that offense, and I'm really excited about what he's going to bring here. Not just the offense as a whole, but oh my God, finally, maybe we have somebody that can utilize our running backs the proper way. It will be really nice to see how they're able to unlock Brees. Like, how about let's get him the ball in space, some of those short routes, split him out as a receiver, bounce him to the outside, not, hey, first and second down, everybody knows we're going to run. Let's try to pound him up in between the tackles, because that's not what Brees is. So
yeah, use Brees like you did with Gibbs. Use Braylon like they did with Montgomery,
exactly.
and use Garrett Wilson like you did with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm telling you, if they follow that, I think that would work out real well for us.
Yeah, I do too.
Facts.
I do too. That's awesome. Listening to the beginning of the show, like there were a lot of former Jets who volunteered their services, so to speak. Quebec, Victor Green, everybody, me, I was pounding the table, to bring in Mawai. However, that position has been filled. Apparently we brought over Detroit coach to be our new O-line coach.
Their tight end coach.
Yeah, I guess he was their tight end coach. But I got to say this, you know what? I have full confidence in Aaron Glenn and the staff he's putting together. I'm glad. I think this is going to be a new era and a different look for us. And I think that, there are some similarities with Rex. The way he speaks, it definitely gets us fans fired up and everything. I think the main difference is we've, as the Rex era progressed and evolved, we found out some things at the end. Like Rex was tough on the rookies, but the star guys, Mo Wilkerson, Sheldon Richardson, he let them be late to meetings, let them get away with murder. And by the end of Rex's tenure, the inmates were running the asylum, so to speak. That will not be the case with Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn will 100% hold guys accountable. And it don't matter if they're at the bottom or the top. Doesn't matter what the name is on the back of the jersey. It's the name on the front of the jersey that's important, which technically there isn't one on the front of the jersey, but you know what I mean. At any rate, and dude, you know what? I woke when I first got home from work this morning. I turned on the computer and I saw this YouTube video, and it said, "We lose again." And it was a Saints fan bitching that nothing ever goes right for their franchise. And now we've lost Aaron Glenn to the Jets. And I was like, God, it is nice to hear somebody else talk about how shit their luck is because the Jets got the guy they wanted.
Facts.
Boy, it is nice for the shoe to be on the other foot for a change.
Absolutely. And they're going through it over there in New Orleans right now because even Mike McCarthy's like,
nobody wants.
He's like, I'm gonna take a year off.
You know what? Who knows? Maybe they can end up with Flores, the coach that nobody wants, with the team that nobody wants.
It's sounding like that they might get Kellen Moore. I don't know why he would go there, but it's sounding like it.
I have no idea. And then lately, there's been some rumblings about them wanting to trade Chris Olave, and I heard people talking about, maybe we could trade. I'm thinking, why would they do that? He's probably one of their best offensive weapons. But then I read that, he's had 5 or 6 concussions already. And I'm like, oh man, you know what? That's not good. That's not good. And, we know from Corbett, like, I mean, once you get up into those high numbers like that, you start looking at like, every hit, could be your last play. And, the thing is, we all want guys to be tough guys and play through injury, but at a certain point, these guys are human beings who have families, and they got to think about a life after football. Do you want to be running around with your kids, or do you want to be on crutches? At the end of the day, like I said, I've got full faith in Aaron Glenn and the staff that he's putting together. I think he's going to hold these guys accountable in a way that they haven't been before. And and I hate it. I absolutely hate it when people say Aaron Glenn, defensive guy, he's Saleh 2.0. He's fucking nothing like Saleh at all. Aaron Glenn, being a former player who played at such a high level, I think is going to instantly garner the respect of our players. Saleh was never a player, and I was joking the other day, I think for Christmas, like somebody gave Saleh one of those clever sayings for every day of the year type things. And each day he would pull one off and have a different cheesy quote to give the media. It's not going to be any of that with Aaron Glenn. And I think just the fact, and also Aaron Glenn has said Sauce was an all-pro player his first 2 years. I want to get him back to being that player. And I really think he can unlock a lot with Sauce. It's too bad DJ Reed, I think, being a smaller corner that was able to play at such a high level, that Glenn really could have helped him. But he's going to get a bag somewhere else, and that's fine. But I'm really curious to see the way that this team is shaped up. And my biggest question right now, like maybe my only hesitance, would probably be with Moogie. Which I don't want to bag on the guy. I mean, obviously, he was very happy when he got the GM gig. He was smiling ear to ear. And I don't want to pick on anybody for their appearance or anything else, but he just seemed kind of goofy to me. He just, I'm like, this guy looks more like he should be in like Napoleon Dynamite than putting together an NFL team. But
that's
God bless
Liam
him.
Cohen. Liam
Yeah,
Cohen,
Liam.
I feel like.
Duval.
Oh
Yeah,
God, that you know what? That was embarrassing.
that was embarrassing. At least Muji wasn't like freaking cringy. He was just
Yeah.
like
Yeah, he wasn't cringy.
he was kind of, I don't know.
But you
nerdy.
know what? Hey, I'll be the first to admit there's probably a lot of nerdy guys out there that are a hell of a lot smarter than me. So I'm gonna not knock anybody on that. I guess it's just an unproven track record. I'll tell you what, this draft is going to tell me most of what I need to know about him. He goes in and nails this draft and really loads us up and really puts this roster together. And I'll be that guy's biggest fan. So
Let me ask Ricky. Let me ask you a question. So again, it seems like every couple weeks this comes up. Again today it came up. Garrett Wilson wants to request a trade. If you're Moogie and you're walking into this and you're hearing this again 3 days after you're hired or whatever, what are you saying? I know Glenn already commented on it, and he said, well, wait until me and Garrett sit down. I'm going to talk to this kid. But is there any part of you that says, fuck it, man. If you don't want to be here, then my phone's open. Like, where are you at with that? And I know Garrett spoke out on its validity before, but like this just keeps coming up. Talk to me.
I think that the fans and the media might overblow it a little bit more than what it is. On the flip side, could anybody, fault Garrett for not being happy with the way things have turned out? The guy gives it his all the time, and there's the show for it. That being said, I think that once he sits down and talks to Aaron Glenn and hears Aaron Glenn's vision for this team, the direction he wants to go, and what role he sees for Garrett in that, I think Garrett will change his mind. But at the end of the day, he can want whatever he wants. The guy's under contract. So what do I think about the whole thing? I'm going to give you, every time when I was a teenager and I said I wanted something, my dad would tell me, want in one hand, shit in the other. See which gets full faster. And that's what I would tell Garrett.
I love it. Daniel, what do you think on that?
He's a competitor, right? Like, competitors, they're passionate, right? And then whenever there's things that are out of their control, like he can work his ass off day in, day out and do all the right things, but yet the final product still isn't coming together. Yeah, he's going to be frustrated. Like, that's understandable. If I was in his position, I'd probably be frustrated too, I don't make anything of it, man. I don't think that he's trying to get out. I think that he's even said, like, the media, he's like, I don't even talk about the rumors because they're BS, man. Like, he's like, if I want to say something, I'll say it. But like, he's not going to be the guy that's going to come out and cause a big scene and stuff. This is all driven by the media, I think that, like, yes, he's frustrated. He's never like denied that. Like, you see it on his face on the sidelines and things like that. But like, that doesn't mean that he's still not in it. Like,
right.
He would be thrilled to be part of a comeback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he would be thrilled to be seeing what Terry. Look at what Terry McLaurin, and they both went to Ohio State. Not they didn't overlap, but I'm just saying, like they probably know each other. Like look at
Oh,
Terry
yeah.
McLaurin. He's had quarterback after quarterback after. I mean, head coach after head coach, new ownership, all these different things. And then it's finally coming together for Terry right now. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like he made it
facts.
to the NFC Championship. He's got this promising young quarterback. All these things. Um, I don't think Garrett is going to have a problem being like Terry McLaurin, like just a guy that produces no matter who the fuck is back there. Maybe he's not producing as much as he would if there was a stud, throwing him the ball and a competent offensive coordinator, making the calling the plays, scheming the game plans and stuff. But he's still there. He's still productive. And I think that it's all blown out of proportion, man. I think he's a competitor, but he's not the guy that's going to force his way out because to him, I feel like that's giving up. That's accepting the L, right? And for a guy that's competitive like that, he's never going to accept that L.
You know what? And sorry, Murph.
No,
I was just going to say, like, if you talk to this guy in April and May, and I bet you he's chomping at the bit for 2025. Like, this is just still fresh for him. And I think, Ricky, you said it, like, wait until he has a chance to talk to Glenn, because I think that the story will change. But there is another guy I want to ask about this whole thing, because, dude, the story is not going away. Like I said, it just keeps coming up. And we have another guy in the green room set to join us. Ricky, I wanted to give you a minute to speak your piece on the coaching staff before bringing this guy out. But friend of the channel, you guys know him. Let's hear what he has to say about Garrett Wilson. We'll circle back and hear what he has to say about the new coaching staff as well. But for now, let's finish this Garrett topic because it is big stuff, man. And without further ado, the Jet Stream himself, Mr. Murdog. What's up, brother?
Speaking of big stuff,
what's up, boys?
What's up,
How
man?
you doing?
What's up?
Ricky, Murph Dog, Dano. What's up, guys?
Friday Night Crew.
Is that I can't turn my
what is that?
I can't turn them. I'm limited. The flexibility.
So what's up,
right,
man? What do you think about this Garrett stuff? Like, do you think it's going to come push home to shove, or do you think it's just going to be a story that dies?
I dropped something like a week ago, whatever, and I said part of the beauty of hiring Aaron Glenn was that he'll have the love and respect of the Jets roster, and that we need him more than ever because I think coaching goes beyond X's and O's. Creating that culture, that family stuff. He's much better suited than a lot of the other candidates that they will resonate with Aaron Glenn, especially being a former Jet. He's been through the tough times. And that's what I just said. Like, Aaron Glenn is probably the perfect guy for our young core. And these are the guys that we're relying on in the future. So our best option of keeping these young kids, all those draft picks that we're hitting a couple of years ago, he's the best bet to keep them in the building. I will wait for Aaron Glenn to talk to Garrett, but I was at the Jacksonville game and I saw the temper tantrum. I saw the nuclear meltdown in person. I've seen it on TV. And my complaint about him with that is, if you're going to be a team leader, you can't do that publicly for the cameras, for your teammates. You're sending a bad message. Can't do that shit. So maybe Aaron Glenn can rein him in and teach him how to be, more mature, unlike, the Mekhi Bectons of the world, So there's a shot, but if Aaron Glenn can't get through to him and he still wants out, we got 3 years of control left. We got next year's his fourth year, then we could have fifth year option him whether he likes it or not, and then we could franchise him if we feel like it. So he doesn't really have leverage. If the Jets are like, you know what, we don't want this problem, fucking fleece another team. You got guys coming up like Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. There's guys coming up in the next drafts. This one is a pretty good draft, in my opinion, on the receivers, especially in the middle rounds. But yeah, That's where we're at. We got 3 years of him. 3 years of him if we choose to, disgruntled or not.
Yep.
So that's really it's up to Aaron Glenn.
That the whole, like, you kind of brought it up as a temper tantrum and stuff like that. I still feel like that's mild compared to what a lot of receivers do nowadays, dude. Receivers are divas, like 90% of them are, and most of them go off and chirping off of the mouth and running their mouth to the media saying all kinds of shit, dude.
Right.
Garrett doesn't really do that, you know. So I don't know.
I would much rather have that go on the sideline than in front of the cameras. And I mean, he's not pulling in Elijah Moore. I mean, the bottom line is, I think Garrett wants to win more than he wants out of this organization. At the end of the day, this guy just wants to win games. And I think that's the attitude you want. I think that Aaron Glenn will get this thing turned around. I think Garrett will be here long. It's all kind of new right now with the new coaching staff, so we'll see where it goes. But I'll say one thing. I mean, I guarantee you, there's probably guys, you know, like Michael Clements, that Aaron Glenn got hired and they went, "Oh shit, I'm done." You know, they know he's not going to put up with that foolishness. And I love the story that Aaron Glenn told about, like, his with Parcells, where he went in and Parcells went, every single guy has a price on him. And if somebody makes me an offer for you that I like, you're gone. And you know what? I think Aaron Glenn will have that same mentality. I don't care how big of a star you think you are. You're either going to buy in 100%. If not, you're probably not going to be here. And that's the way it should be.
Let me ask you guys something else. Because there's a lot of people that have this sentiment that, like, Aaron Glenn is the de facto GM. Where does that come from? Is it just a matter of him like him knowing what he wants for his team and conveying it to Mooj? Or do people think that he really does have that ability because of them restructuring that dynamic of the front office, where Aaron Glenn answers to Woody and Mooj answers to Woody? It doesn't flow through Mooj. Is that where the idea that Glenn has personnel control comes from? Or is it more just the vision coming from Glenn? Murph, let me start with you. Do you think that there's any truth to, like, Glenn having final say over roster decisions? Where are you at with that? Because there are people that, like, are mainly thinking that Mooj is just a statue, pretty much.
No, that's not. No, I think they made it clear in their press conference. Everything is going to be discussed between the two of them. I don't think that there's a one over the other. Like they said, they're going to sit in a room and they're going to figure it out. They're not coming out of the room until they figure it out, you know, until they're both agreed on it. So that's the way I look at it.
Anyone else want to hit on that one? Like the dynamic of who's making the choices when it comes to people like Garrett?
I agree with that sentiment. I mean, at the end of the day, Aaron Glenn is going to have final say on everything. I think that his background as a scout is going to come into play as far as evaluating. I like that aspect of it, but I think it's going to be a true collaborative effort. You know, I think that like Murph said, they're going to sit down and they're going to discuss it and come to a conclusion with everybody on the same page. I don't think it's going to be like one guy likes this guy and, you know, the other says, "Oh, no, I have final say." And I mean, I think they're going to be in agreement on things, but I think that's why, you know, he wanted him as a GM. I think that they have a similar vision. I think that they look at a lot of things the same way. And so I don't think it's going to be, in other words, like a big effort for the two of them to meet in the middle. And somebody asked earlier today, there's like, you know, is Aaron Glenn going to want like all speed guys in the draft, or is he going to want, is he going to emphasize physicality? And I didn't get a chance to answer that. I wish I would have. But I can tell you right now, it's not going to be speed. It's going to be physicality. You know, it's going to be, is the guy around the ball all the time? Is the guy, you know, taking all the right angles? Is the guy playing the game the right way? Now, say it comes to a spot where we're filling a third wide receiver spot or something, and it calls for a speed guy. In that instance, maybe we'll draft a speed guy, but overall philosophy, it's going to be physicality, and we're going to get ball players. And yeah, I think the two of them are on the same page about a lot of things, but I think if there is a disagreement, they'll sit down, hammer out the pros and cons, and come to an agreement on something. I don't think it's going to be like a power struggle or the guy at the top going against the grain like what we've had in the past.
Nice. Murdog, what say you on that? Like, say Garrett does one out. Do you think it's more a Glenn decision? Both? Like, it seems like Glenn's going to get the credit either way, but where are you at there?
Well, no, I think it would be a Muji thing, but I think Glenn's going to have the first crack at it. And if he doesn't want to buy in, then it might behoove the Jets to just move on and get everything. Because the more years of control you have, or an organization does, the more draft capital you get back, right? It's just like baseball at the deadline. You're not going to get as much as if you gave them 2 years of control. I think it would be a team effort, especially both being brand new. I know they said in the press conference that they had a connection from previous interviews. I don't think they're going to step on each other's toes. I think they're going to, from the jump, they're going to make it a team effort all the way down between the two of them and other management to where they're all on the same page. Definitely in the beginning. You know, you're not going to have right away they're butting heads on personnel. But I think it's going to be the Muji. It's going to be his call because there is a distinction between general manager and head coach. But I think they will work well together, especially right off the bat. So
fair.
I think Aaron Glenn will get a feel off him and be like, listen, you know, I'm trying with this guy, but, you know, let's just see if we can move him. But what I wanted to touch on something else, like I think, Ricky, you were saying it with the temper tantrums. Devontae Adams had like 200 yards and like 3 touchdowns that game, and they won. It's not like, you know, he was complaining that he wasn't getting the ball when he was open. Maybe Aaron Rodgers was over-targeting Devontae, but Devontae killed it that game. So it's just the fact that he would do that publicly rubs me the wrong way. That's not a leader. And I hope he gets better because I love the guy. I want him to be a Jet forever. But if he makes that impossible or is a problem with the young guys in the locker room, then sometimes, you know, you got to look out for the rest of the organization. This isn't the New York Garrett Wilsons. It's the New York Jets. And if he's going to be a problem, then fuck it. Sorry, I love the guy, but you got to go. You know.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand on that.
Well, and it's like, how much are we getting too? Like, is someone calling with a 1 and a 2 or 2 1s? Like, because then I don't even know if I care if you like it here or not. Like, if it's a new regime wanting their guy, you know, so that it's a whole nother. And we have all off season for that. Go ahead.
You're getting multiple ones for sure for a prime young receiver. But a problem that we have with our receiving core is we're possession receivers. We don't have burners who separate the field. That's why you guys are just talking about the draft, looking for speed. So am I. Devontae's not a burner. He's just a big body possession guy, successful, great. But Garrett is too. We can't stretch the defense. Our receiving core is not like that. We're like an intermediate receiving core. We need burners, someone that could be a deep threat to where it makes it easier on the tight end, Devontae, Garrett getting open, because now you got that threat up top. So we at least need one. I mean, look at Xavier Worthy. He's a deep threat for Kansas City. It opens up the middle of the field for Kelsey. They had Tyreek Hill before that who did the same shit. So once you got that deep threat, opens up the middle for first downs. Keep the chains moving.
See, and you don't even have to have a wide receiver 1 that's a burner. You just need a burner. Like, you know, just as yes.
Yeah,
like, give me Jacoby Myers, man. Like,
I'll agree with that. I want to push back a little bit on what Murdoch was saying. I don't think that, you know, it was the fact that Devontae caught so many balls, they won that game, whatever. I think it wasn't the plays that were made. I think it's the ones that weren't. like plays
Mhm.
where Garrett was wide open and they were still trying to either force it to Devontae or, for whatever reason, maybe he was feeling pressure that wasn't there and just getting rid of the ball too quickly, not going all the way through his progressions. And I mean, we've all seen the tape, where Garrett's wide open and he just either doesn't look to him or doesn't get to him. At the end of the day, hey, you know what? There were some big plays where the ball was almost right in Garrett's hands and he didn't come down with it. So, the guy's not perfect, but I would not trade Garrett because you know what? Say you get 2 firsts for it, and those 2 firsts turn out to be Traylon Burks and I don't know, some other bum that was taken in the first round. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I mean, draft picks aren't for sure. Garrett is a proven commodity, and he is one of the best that there is in this league. I would absolutely not trade him. Period. He can want whatever he wants. I'll use a great quote from Kick-Ass Part 2, the movie. People want to win the lottery. People want to bang Scarlett Johansson. You don't always get what you want.
Ricky, I prefaced it though. I said when he had the meltdown, I said that he wasn't getting the ball, like Aaron was forcing the ball to Devontae, and that he was not getting looks when he was wide open. I mean, I did say that, so I understand why he's mad. My argument is that just don't do it in front of the view of the world and your teammates. That's he has every right to be mad in those situations, but you got to have some restraint because everyone's watching you. You're a young leader on the team. And the only time I'm saying I don't want to trade Garrett at all, but I'm just saying if he makes it known to the management and Aaron Glenn that I'm fucking out of here ASAP, as soon as I can, then you should might as well move him when you can get stuff. I'm not advocating to trade him. I'm just saying if he makes it known I'm not staying here, then you got your answer and you move him while you can to get his
I find it annoying that people. Well, yeah. Well, I also find it annoying the people who act like we can't trade him. Like, I'm sorry, but like you're not in that room with him, and if his attitude is a certain way, you 100% can trade him. Like, you have to be in those rooms though. Like, we're hearing things secondhand, third hand, like, and he's squashed it in public. So like there is so much context we don't have, but like to be dead set, you have to trade him. You can't trade him. It's just not, it's not rational because you don't know what the hell is really going on. But I would say with a new regime, a regime that didn't draft him, a regime that may be 1 to 2 years away from contention, and then he's getting 30 mil a year by the time it even matters, trading him is on the table. And it just depends on, is someone willing to give up that second one or not? And because you got to give up 2 ones and pay him. But we could talk about Garrett all night. I do want to get to another topic because we're winding down. That is what you guys would do with the 7th overall pick. I want to go around the room and see what you guys would do with 7th overall. Knowing what we know, if Garrett's not here, that could skew what you do. Or you could say keep Garrett, go defense. But is there any volunteers to go first? Fine, but I do want to know what each person wants. All right, Murph.
Well,
Murph,
you know what?
ahead.
Yeah.
Slow down, Ricky. It's my turn.
Yeah.
No, I'm just short and sweet, man. The way it's looking based on mock drafts and things I'm seeing, I think this guy's going to be available, and I think he might be a steal at 7, honestly. And that's speaking of wide receivers, that's our boy McMillan. I know he's not the burner type that you're asking for, Murdoch. And I agree with you, man. I think we need to get one of those guys, but we can get one of them in free agency because this dude is a stud, and hopefully he could be the next Mike Evans for us. I like him a lot. We need more wide receiver depth because I don't see Devontae coming back next year.
That's a good take, man. Murdoch,
I got one thing I want to say before we transition. Just one more thing about Garrett, real quick. What I would say to people like him in all sports, like I did this with like Yankees, we can go 5-11 without you. It's not like you were the reason why we were 12-5 or 13-4. We were 5-12. we could do that with or without you, right? That would be an argument for that side. All right, but moving past Garrett. I can't wait. Sunday, I'm probably going to do a draft thing. I hope you guys show up because I want to do like an introductory to the prospects. I saw Dom C was in the chat earlier. I'd love to have him pop in. We need defensive run stopping. McMillan's probably not going to make it past New England because they probably want to pair him with Drake May to give him a legit weapon on the outside. McMillan's 6'5", not the fastest in the world, but he's a contested catch monster. It's hard to stop a 6'5" dude. I don't want to call him elusive. I watched some film on him to where I don't know. I don't know if I'd take him that high, but that's not our biggest problem. We could find receivers all over the place. I want a run stuffing defender. And I don't think Mason Graham is going to follow us, but I found so many dudes that are worthy. And late
All right,
first round.
who do you want? Because I don't want you to take Ricky's. Yeah, good.
If I had my choice, I'd take Mason Graham if he falls to 7. If he's not there, I'd look for Will Johnson, also out of Michigan, cornerback, 6'2", about 190, 200-pound cornerback. With the loss, we're probably losing DJ Reed. Put somebody on the side of Sauce. If we could have a lockdown corner over there, maybe Sauce gets better to tackling and no penalties, then we could have a lockdown secondary. Obviously, we'll replace the safeties. But if one of those two fall, I'm taking Mason Graham first, Will Johnson if Mason Graham's not there.
I like that.
I'll let Ricky.
Ricky, what say you?
I hear a lot of people talking about, McMillan, Tater Tot McMuffin, the receiver from Arizona. He's a big possession receiver, and I don't know, man. He could be, like another T. Higgins, but he could be Corey Davis. Like, I'm just not 100% sold. I will say we could use some receiver help, whether Devontae's here or not. I don't know that Gibson is going to stick on this team with his mental lapses. I don't think this coaching staff is going to put up with it. Me personally, the number one player on my entire board overall out of everybody, if he's there at 7, absolutely, I would take Will Johnson with Reed and possibly Eccles too. They both may be gone. He's a true shutdown corner, and pair him with Sauce. If Sauce bounces back, we have an elite secondary, probably one of the best in the league. If Sauce doesn't bounce back, he can be expendable later on. But I think that with the defensive tackles. Okay,
we're getting some feedback.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of an echo on all this one. There's some guys later on that I think we could get. I'll tell you what, Jaden Higgins, the Iowa State wide receiver, dude, everything that I'm hearing from the Senior Bowl, like GMs, coaches, everybody's, what they say, he flows like water. His route running is so precise, and he's been so good. He's a player that I would be interested in. Who knows? He may end up creeping his way into the first round. But another player that I've been really interested in, that I've been watching some stuff from the Senior Bowl, is CJ West, defensive tackle from Indiana. He's going to move his way up, but probably could still be got in the 3rd round, maybe 4th round. But Indiana was like one of the best in the country versus the run, and everybody knew that he was a monster run stuffer. But since he's been there, people are like, I was shocked at the arsenal of pass rush moves that he has. Like, he's actually really good at rushing the passer too. So, there's definitely areas of need for us. There's a lot of safeties that I like. There's Watts, even Worry. Billy Bowman from Oklahoma is a safety that has been really, really good there. Like, always around the ball, always in the right spot. They're talking about he always takes the correct angles, as just a ball player. So, And hell, we definitely are going to need one, possibly two new safeties. But at that number 7 pick overall, it would be Will Johnson for me. Absolutely, no two ways about it. If he's not there, honestly, I would probably try to trade back, you know, and then get like a Tyleek Williams or somebody like that later on. If he's not there and we had to stick and pick, though, I would probably just end up going with Tyler Warren, the tight end. But Will Johnson is my number 1 guy.
Will Johnson. So we got Ted. Man, it sucks going fourth here, man. Ted McMillan, though, is a huge option, man. How well does he run next month? Mason Graham, Murdoch said that's a big one too. Like, it depends. Like, I wish I knew what these guys prioritize. Do you want to have a strong D line? Do you want to have a strong secondary? Do you want to have a strong offense? Good, Murdoch. Thank you. All right. So I don't know. I think just to be different, there's a take that I heard today that I don't dislike, and that's taking the tackle, man. And that's obviously, I want weapon. We took tackle last year. It was kind of a boring draft because we did that. Like, what I'm trying to say is last year we ate our veggies. This year, I want the shiny toy, man. I do. I want Ted McMillan. But I'm sorry, if he run, like, I think Mike Evans was a 4.55 or something. Like, if he's slower than that, I can't take him at 7. So I try to slide back. But, like, this regime, it would not bum me out if they took tackle again, because like you're building a wall then, and then whoever's quarterback in 2025, 6, 7 is going to have all day to throw. So as bad as I do want weapon, I also would not fault them if they ate their veggies again. But then again, you guys going defense, I don't, dude, we're going to have our pick of the litter. That's the point.
Yeah.
We're not, if we don't stop the run, we have no shot. The game is won in the trenches. And as we saw, everyone knows I've been saying this since we lost to San Francisco opening night. Jordan Mason ran all over us. We couldn't stop a nosebleed. We're never going to win consistently if everybody in their backups could run wild on you. And we don't have any run stuffing presence. I'm so glad Ricky said Jaden Higgins. I've been researching this dude, and I love him. He's 6'4". He's a big body guy, but I'm looking at other stuff, and right now they have a 2nd round grade on him. There's a few dudes in the 2nd round that I wanted to enlighten people to, so they just keep their eye on him. Dano, if you don't mind, I'll share the screen to show you.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. And while you're bringing it up, I'd just like to say you mentioned Dom. Dom is the one that turned me off of Mason Graham. I love the idea of him coming in and being a cog next to Quinnen. But Dom said that in his eyes, he's not a blue chipper. And I've been scared of like he was my guy until I heard Dom say that. So we got to hear more from Dom about that. Share that again.
Not just Dom. I've heard that elsewhere too.
I would disagree with the blue chipper, but the thing is he's like a disruptive pass rushing. I don't want to say smaller, but defensive tackle, and the run stuffing isn't. I don't know. I think he's too similar in a lot of ways to Quinnen. That's why, like, I would much rather have like Tyleek Williams from Ohio State if we're talking run stuffing defensive tackle in the first round. But I think, like I said, there's CJ West. There's other guys that can be that run stuffer. That, like, I don't think, and this goes for right tackle too. I don't think you have to get a run stuffer or a right tackle with 7 overall. I think you can fill that in with one of our other picks. Now,
exactly, Ricky.
I absolutely do want a run stuffer. I absolutely do want a right tackle. But you know what? If I can get Jack Nelson from Wisconsin in the 3rd round, I'm not using 7 overall on a tackle. And I don't see us using a top 10 pick back years either.
Who was our best, like our two best most recent like run stuffing DTs, right? Just give me the names. I know you guys
Snacks
know.
Harrison, Chris Jenkins.
No.
Quentin Jefferson.
No, he was not a run stuffer.
Al Woods.
He was good in the middle.
Puha was good. Puha was good.
No. There's a guy that you're forgetting that's more recent than.
Yeah, how long ago?
Went to Jacksonville.
You're talking about
Jacksonville.
Foley.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Foley.
There you go, Murdo. Yeah. So anyway, Folu, Fatukasi, Snacks Harrison. Look up their draft pedigree. Those guys are not friggin' 7th overall. Like you can get those guys in the mid to late rounds, like runs, especially the run stuffing type. Everybody wants pass rush nowadays, so those guys are the ones that get drafted like real high. So I just don't think that you have to go, run stuffing defensive tackle at 7. I understand the need, like Ricky was saying, like I get it. Like we need that. That is like the biggest need on our defense. Like Murdoch, you're right, dude. Like you got to run. You got to stop the run, man. But when you're at 7, you kind of have to go best player available, within reason,
or slide back.
That's what I'm saying. If the top-notch stud isn't available, I'm totally with Dano of trading back. But I wanted to pop in and show you guys the reasons why I'm looking at Mason Graham. All right, if Dom's out on him, I just want to give you a preview of why. I'm looking at someone like Mason Graham. First of all, he's 6'3", 320, right? He's still his age. He's only 21.4 years old. Look at this guy's stats. He's been solid all 3 years at Michigan, up here at the top left. Overall grade is a 91.1. If you look over here, look at his run defense, 92.6. And he's still got an 81.1 pass rush rate. The run stop rate is at 12%. Like this middle line is like mediocre. Anything to the right is elite. I'm looking down here. Look what he did at the bottom right of the screen against the national champion, Ohio State, 88.4 ranking. Like he showed up. Look at those hurries. He's got 20 hurries, 18 in his sophomore season, 5 sacks, 9 hits, plays in the B gap. And look, as a sophomore, he had a 90 grade. A freshman, 80.3. That's what I'm saying. Like
how many sacks did he have last year? Did you say?
I think he had 5 sacks. He had 5 sacks, 9 hits, 20 hurries. You get 20 hurries, that means you're getting penetration. And you're next to Quinnen Williams, so that's another problem. Mason Graham becomes another problem next to Quinnen. But I'm also of the mind of trading down if he's not there. Even if you go past Kenneth Grant, his teammate at an 83 rank, I'm looking at here. He had 23 hurries. That's causing pressure.
We can't put everything into PFF though, man.
No,
and the other thing is we're talking about what we really need is a run stuffer. So sacks and pressures is great, but that's not what we were talking about. I like Mason Graham. Mason Graham is a very good player, and trust me, after one of my guys got drafted last year and seeing the rookie year he had. I would think like, oh God, if we got Mason Graham, I could only hope that he would turn out to be what Braden Fisk was for the Rams this year. But if you're really that big of a Mason Graham fan, I'll make you a bet right now. $50 right now says that Mason Graham will not have as good a year as Braden Fisk had this past year. If you're down.
Maybe he does, maybe don't. But we're talking about we're at the number 7 pick. We need a run stuffer. If they trade down, I'm falling in love with this guy, Walter Nolan. They got him as a 2nd round grade. I'm looking at his run stuffing. He's a 91.6. He's a good pass rusher. He's 91.6. He doesn't have an ounce of fat on him. 6'3", 305, and he's not a fatty. I'm looking at this guy like as a 2nd round dude. He might creep into the 1st. But if we trade down to get more assets, that's a dude. Like there's a tool here that shows me all the pass rushing stuff. This guy, Derek Harmon, ranked 86. That's a 3rd round grade. He's good at both.
Yeah, he won't.
Look at these hurries.
3rd, but yeah,
43 hurries, bro. That's a lot. this year, 43 hurries. Look at, I'm just saying, this is the type of, he's 6'5", 310. That's a big dude in the middle. So, I mean, there's so many of these guys that we could find. CJ West, he was on my radar too. You got him. Look at that production.
Yeah.
Look at that production. His run defense is an 88.1. He had 19 hurries. He had an 81.4 against Notre Dame. So I'm looking at him.
You trade your second and maybe move back into the end of the first and snatch up like Tyleik Williams or Walter Nolan or one of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I made a whole list of these defensive
I'll tell you what, he is a big fatty. And in my opinion, I think he was probably the best in the country versus the run. Dude, that kid is a stud. And you look at him, he's ranked like 36 overall right now, which is beginning of the second round. I don't think there's any way. Like teams like Buffalo, Detroit will snatch a guy like that at the end of the first if he's there. But yeah, I mean, originally I thought, trade back and get him. But the problem is you got to have somebody to trade back with. And I just don't know that there's going to be anybody there at 7 that somebody wants that badly to trade up for.
I don't know, because from what everything that I hear is there's only 5 to 8 blue chippers in this draft. So if we're in that 5 to 8 range and we're willing to pass on a blue chipper, I do think that someone could trade up that's in the teens who's going to miss on a blue chipper and needs one that says, hey, I need a blue chipper. I don't need 2 averages. I need one blue chipper. And I don't know, man, even if a quarterback doesn't fall for us, I do think that we will have people to tango with if we want out of pick number 7. Maybe I'm crazy, and we got to see the combine. How does, because Graham, if he can stuff the run and pass rush and be cheap and be next to Quinnen, give me him. If not, give me a weapon. But otherwise, dude, after we pick at 42, we have to wait 50 picks. I don't want to wait 50 picks. So if we can slide at 7 and get something, if we can get something in there to where we're not waiting 50 picks after the second round, I'd rather slide, man. We have so many holes.
I could not agree more. Like every mock draft I've done, I make that 42 pick, and then the next pick is 92. And I keep thinking to myself, God, I wish I had a pick at 70 or 75 to follow that 40 with, because I watch so many players that I come off the board. And dude, there, I do want some weapons too. I mean, for me. And, like Murdoch was saying, Jaden Higgins, that's a guy I've been looking at. Savion Williams, I love, but he would have to have the right coordinator, the right scheme to be able to use him. But his teammate, Jack Besh, probably not ever going to be a true number 1, but would be a great number 2. Just does everything right, tough as nails, and blocking isn't necessarily, a big thing as far as receivers, but he'll block. He catches everything. Probably more of a possession type guy, but there are some intriguing receivers in this draft too. But yeah, out of the 5 blue chippers that are probably in this draft, 2 of them are for the same team. Mason Graham, Will Johnson. And I would be, honestly, I'd be happy with either one of those picks. It's just Will Johnson is my guy. All the evaluation that I've done on him, you hear his pro comp, Patrick Surtain. Everybody's saying easiest evaluation I ever did. And for me, it was too, he's just so good, so fluid. And the fact that we're losing, not only Reed, but probably Eccles too. That's the thing that kills me as fans, everybody's like, we need to re-sign Sherwood. We need it. Who says Sherwood wants to resign? He's a free agent. Keyword being free. He does not have to come back here, and he's probably going to get a bag. There's Lions fans already posting videos with pictures of Sherwood. I'm pretty sure he's going to be gone. We're going to have some big holes to fill. But yeah, I mean, people probably hate me, but my mock is very defense heavy. But yeah, I'd be happy with Will Johnson or Mason Graham, honestly. But Johnson's my guy.
There's a couple dudes, Ricky, that I want. Well, you mentioned Jaden Higgins. I've been looking at him. I wanted to show you guys him. There's really 2 or 3 guys I just want to give you guys a sneak peek at. There's one guy that I'm really gravitating towards that I think we got to snag. And Dano, you're right. If we trade back, man, if we get some of those mid to late seconds, early thirds, we can get them. I'll show you right here, Jaden Higgins that we were talking about. He's 6'4", 215. They targeted him 129 times this year. He had 87 catches from his 1,200 yards. This guy, he's got a 90.5 receiving grade. His drop rate is only 2.2%, and he's 88.5 versus man coverage. And he wins more than half his contested balls. There's another dude on that Ole Miss team too, Trey Harris. Look at this guy right here, 6'3", 89. He's basically got a 90 grade and almost did the same thing a year prior. So that's consistency. This guy, Trey Harris, he's ranked 89th. That's a what? That's a 3rd round grade that you can get him. This guy right here, Nick Nash, love this guy. 6'3". Here's the most important part. He's a slot receiver. If you look at his slot catches, 91 here at the bottom, 1st in the country. Contested catches, 19, 4th in the country. Deep catches, 17, 3rd in the country. Missed tackles forced, 29, 2nd in the country. You get a 6'3" guy in the slot that could do that, and just because he's ranked low because he went to San Jose State, that's a dude.
I was just about to say, what was his competition level, and that does matter.
It didn't. Did it matter with Corley?
Did it matter with Cooper Kupp? I mean, yes, it does matter. It's mattering that his draft stock is that he's ranked 110. That's why it matters. But if this guy could put up those numbers as a 6'3" slot receiver, and that's a 4th round pick right there, ranked 110, I mean, who knows where he'll go? There's one more dude I need to show you because this guy, I don't know. I don't know where he's. This guy, Harold Fannin, ranked 70s. That's an early 3rd round pick.
Oh, wait a minute. Now you're talking tight end. And
we know Fannin. Yeah.
You know Fannin. Oh my God. I watched tape on this guy. Look at his grade. 90 is a 96, targeted 150 times with 117 catches, 1,555 yards, 10 tuds. He only had 4 drops. This dude, we need a tight end. Look what he did against Penn State.
Now, the only knock I've heard on him is people questioning his competition level coming from like Bowling Green and stuff, but Fannin a lot. I've grabbed him in a couple of my mocks, and I definitely, I don't think he'll be around when we get to picking. So my fallback is I've taken Gunnar Helm, the tight end from Texas, a bunch of times. He's tough as nails, also a real good pass catcher. Murdoch, do yourself a favor. Look at the 2 wide receivers from TCU, Sagon Williams and Jack Beck.
Oh, Beck is on there. Yeah, I've seen them. They're on my list, Ricky. Like Sunday, I'm doing defensive tackles, and then whatever I do next one, I'm gonna do all the positions that the Jets need, which would be defensive tackle, offensive line, tight end, wide receiver.
Yeah, don't just look at the numbers. Actually watch the film of these guys, man. I guarantee you'll enjoy it.
You guys are going to be burnt the hell out on the draft by the time it comes.
You know what? Probably.
I haven't even started on for a reason because I've done this to myself before. I've started in freaking late November, and you get burnt real quick on that shit.
I've seen tape on Fanning. I'm liking what I saw.
Yeah, he's really good. Like I didn't think we'd get either of the top 2 tight ends, so I started looking at the next guys that might be available. And like I said, Fannin, Gunnar Helm are both 2 guys that I've targeted a lot in my mocks. I like both of those players a whole lot. There is Mason Taylor from LSU, who would probably be a 3rd or 4th round pick. Good tight end, but I'm going to say absolutely no. I hated his fucking dad when his dad was a Dolphin. I hated his dad when he came here and became a Jet because he wasn't what he used to be when we got him. Hate Jason Taylor, so I don't want to draft his kid. So no to him. But there are other tight ends that I do like.
You know, he could bang it. You guys don't know about his sister on that festival.
Say it again. Say it again.
I said you might not like his son, but you could bang his sister, Joey Taylor.
No.
Yeah, just all you need. You got an application. Well, all right, guys. I think that's the stream. We'll get into the draft talk. I mean, we touched on it tonight. We'll get into it more heavily. While I'm letting you guys out, what are you guys working on lately? Coming up, sorry. Had a shot a little bit ago. I probably shouldn't have had. But, Murdog, let's start with you. I know you got a channel of your own. Tell us what you're working on coming up, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, next Friday. Tomorrow I think I'm doing a stream, a watch along for the Royal Rumble. If there's any wrestling fans out there, WWE, that want to hang out for the Royal Rumble, come chill. Let's do it like I would do with the Jet game. Sunday, I'm going to try to do a stream if I can get guys together to where we can. Basically, this was a preview. We haven't seen the combine. We don't got all the measurables. We don't got a lot of stuff. We're working on limited information. It's just a preview of like, hey, take a look at this guy. I don't have the film to put with everybody. It's not like this is my rubber stamp on someone. It's just like a
introduction.
It's just an introduction to people that we might be interested in based on the position, the need, whatever. That's it, just to get people familiar with guys in the draft, because a lot of people, we draft people and like, who is this guy? Well, we could try to show you, just bring them up to introduce you to them, and we might get them, we might not. That's all it is. And to talk about it, to see, like, Ricky knows a lot about college football. Ricky would be perfect to, chime in about certain people. You get a guy like Dom C or Tommy Jets, from Inner City Jets. They're both at the Shrine Bowl, so they have inside information, the stuff we would never get. But yeah, so that's really what it's been doing. And then, so I'll be working on off-season stuff just for people with Jets, to consume Jets draft. And then when the season starts, I'll probably be doing Yankee stuff. So, yeah.
Are you a certain time every week, or?
No, I don't have a setup thing. It's really just like there's no structure to it. I don't have like a structured show like this. But I co-host with Midnight Mike on Tuesdays and Saturday nights. So probably after the Royal Rumble stream tomorrow, then I'll pop over to jump in on Mike's show. Mike's show is tomorrow 9:30, or is it 9 p.m.? I don't want to get it
9, I think. Well, I know one of them's 9, one of them's 10. I don't know.
I'll get a nasty email like, you told them the wrong time.
Well, tune in at 9. You might be early, but you won't be late.
Yeah. There you go. And if you're a wrestling fan, hop in. It starts at 6. It's on Peacock tomorrow. The Royal Rumble. It's like the NFL draft. Like, who's coming out? Who's showing back up? Who's going to win? So it's the correlation between those two.
Hey, let's plug your channel, the URL one more time.
Yeah, right down there. It's youtube.com/@the_jetstream. Drop us up. Check out the shorts. And I've been doing those lately on the new hires. I got to drop one. It's so funny. You guys are talking about the Jets hire. I have one. I just didn't publish it yet, but it's already shot. So, yeah, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. I always love coming checking out the homies.
Have a good night, brother. Later.
Take it easy, man.
Ricky, what say you, man? What's your final message for the Danger Zone crew? Or, if you want to plug anything, help yourself, man. You got the floor for 60 seconds. What say you?
All right.
Terrible timing.
Wait, Ricky, start over. You froze and we missed all of it. Go ahead one more time.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. It just popped up, reconnected. Okay. right now I'm just kind of working on things behind the scenes, making some money to put into my project. I am going to be doing a prospect video coming up. It's not a live video. It's just a, pre-recorded video that's going to be called Pick Six with kind of a tie-in with the guitar.
All right. Hell yeah.
Stop prospects. And then
You've piqued my interest.
And I'll be doing another video closer to draft time that I don't want to say anything yet, but I'm working on a guest for that hopefully will come through, a guy that I've been watching a lot of his mocks for a while. But live streams will start in August, and the show will be between now and then. I will be doing some pre-recorded videos, and hopefully that Pick Six video will be out in the next week or so. Like I said, I'm sick as a dog, and I've already got 108 hours on this paycheck, and I still got one 12-hour shift to go tomorrow. So trying to make dude, I'm telling you, people are like, oh, you're a machine. I'm like, yeah, broken down old machine like the ones I have to fix all day at work. But I keep just like them, I keep on going. I don't stop. But yeah, man, just busting ass and trying to get everything together. So when it starts, hopefully it will be epic. That's the plan. But I guess we'll see. But thanks a lot for having me. You guys have a great night, man. I'll see you
Feel better,
whenever
Ricky.
I can get on again.
Hey, always a pleasure, Ricky. All right.
I gotta say,
Rick.
Red, I agree, dude. Wrestling, not for me, man.
You know what? I did enjoy it. Oh, sorry. Sharing the wrong screen. Let me switch here. My bad. Yeah, one of them streams, man. Hey, you gotta laugh, right? You gotta laugh. Dude, the feedback, Murdog, man, I don't know. Watch that back later on. Maybe it wasn't coming through to YouTube, but in the studio, we had double like the whole time. So sorry if your volume got fluctuated a bit, but I had to adjust quite a few things every time you spoke. I don't know what that was, but it might have been a bug. Yeah, dude, good show, right? We set out to do an hour. We did 2.5. Last week we set out to do 2 and we did 4, man. Where are you at though with
We're just a couple of fucking overachievers, aren't we?
Dude, I'm telling you, if hour 3 was like hour 1, we could do an hour or 2, but it seems like hours 3 and 4 are always way better. Maybe we just feel better.
We're like a diesel engine, man. It takes us a while to get going, but buddy, once you got her nice and warmed up and ready to go, she'll purr forever.
Did you order any of those, Murph?
I did not. I'm waiting for the thong version to come out.
I don't know, man.
I'd rather watch Murdog wear those and dance around in his living room than fucking Royal Rumble tomorrow.
Oh, shit. Good times, Murph. I know you had stuff going on. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Yeah, next week, new intro. Total like 2025 intro. We're not. 2024 is over, starting now. So, fresh vibes next week, and I have a feeling we'll have everything put to paper, and maybe we'll know more about Rogers too at that point. But even if we don't, dude, it's just fun speculating with you, brother.
He's got like 3 darkness retreats to go before we get anything on that.
Yeah. Hey, I did notice that 75 people from Twitter tuned in tonight. Cheers to you guys. We got 4 or 5 more subscribers, man. Appreciate you, brother. I think that's about all I have to say, though. Any last second words from you?
Hey, appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out with us, and tune in next week. We'll be back to talk more bullshit.
Hey, later, bro.
Later.
You're in the danger zone.
I love the